Here are your Beyond the Gates spoilers for next week. Here's a look ahead at the episodes we'll see from Monday, August 25th to Friday, August 29th, 2025. With seats at the Fairmont Crest Country Club, Leslie is putting her newfound wealth to good use and is about to stake her claim in Fairmont Crest ASAP. Bearing witness to this statement are both Ted Richardson and Vanessa, and they both know firsthand what sort of trouble could be coming. Vanessa is sorting out the real estate side of things for Leslie, and Ted just wants to shut her down. But to do that, he's going to have to get in line. Back for round 2 at the Dupree mansion, Leslie was all set to tell the Duprees what time it is, but she wasn't counting on the reception she would get, and who else would be a guest on that day? Newly retained fixer, Bill Hamilton. With Anita standing by watching, Bill says, "May I?" And Vernon replies, "Be our guest," and opens the front door and holds it wide as Bill grabs Leslie with both hands, wraps his arms around her waist, and lifts her off the ground and bodily carries away and out the door as Leslie hollers, "Unhand me, demon!" Is Bill about to do with Leslie what he did years ago when he helped Ted with a Leslie problem? Vanessa and her lover business partner, Joey Armstrong, are having a meeting at Uptown, and the talk soon takes a serious turn when Joey says that Vanessa has seen things and he's not in the habit of leaving loose ends. Vanessa then asks Joey if he's threatening her, but he may just be using her and her husband's activities and may be about to use them to extort something. Samantha and Martin have a conversation where Martin is talking about protecting Samantha from the world, and Samantha tells her pop that he can't stop her from growing up. Martin explains that there are dangers everywhere, and someone who knows all too well about those dangers is Chelsea. Chelsea has gone missing, kidnapped from home by an unknown assailant. The fans and viewers already have a suspect in mind, but we will have to wait and see where this leads. Nicole confirms that Chelsea isn't at the club, and Danny and Bill have a tender moment together as she asks him to bring her home. There is nothing Bill wouldn't do to help his daughters, and he's going to have to use all his extensive resources to get her back. Then we see Chelsea, alive, but chained to a bed in a bedroom somewhere. She screams, "Someone, please help me!" But no one is there to hear her, or are they? Hey babes, welcome back to Gossip Delight. It's your girl Daisy, and trust me, today's tea is scorching, steamy, and absolutely unmissable. Buckle up, because we're diving straight into the drama. Here's what went down Thursday, August 21st, 2025. On Beyond the Gates, when one baby made her first million, one baby learned that Mama and Dada were all gone bye-bye, and another baby just couldn't catch a break in her parents' crib. On Beyond the Gates, Eva greeted Leslie at Orphe Jeans, noticing that she was once again dressed up. She noted that the duo used to make fun of rich ladies. Leslie said that was because they had never imagined being rich themselves, and crowed that Eva was the heir to not one, but 2 fortunes. The Thomas women toyed with the idea of dining next at a fancy establishment, and Eva smiled that they could raise their teacups to Miss Barbara. "And to our sugar mama," Leslie added smugly, "Miss Anita Dupree." Leslie described the trust fund Anita had set up for Barbara's kin, and said that the sting of Anita's badly manicured hand across my precious cheek had been La Dupree's reaction to finding out Barbara was Leslie's mother. Eva assumed that Leslie had antagonized Anita, who didn't ruffle, but Leslie blew it off. The women were then visited by a lawyer who had an appointment with Leslie. He asked for Leslie's ID and then handed her a first disbursement check in the amount of $1 million. When Leslie forecast that checks were going to keep on coming, Eva concluded that the reason rich people stayed that way was because they were careful with their money. Leslie didn't disagree, but she remained adamant that she treat herself and Eva to silence the little voice she'd always had in the grocery store and malls, telling her she couldn't afford things. Eva conceded that she had been that voice, and Leslie gently asked her daughter to give it a rest. She was ready to deposit her check, and then she wanted to handle some things that had been a long time coming. Vernon came home after preparing for a lecture. Anita informed him that Kat and Nicole were in a heavy conference in the living room, and that she wasn't proud of herself for going, "bitch slap first, ask questions later," with Leslie. Vernon lamented that Anita had waited decades to find peace about Barbara, only for Barbara's trust to be bestowed on their daughter's worst enemy. Anita admitted she hadn't told Nicole about Leslie inheriting the money she had laid aside for Barbara, and was concerned that the family had fallen far enough to condone violence when Vernon said Anita had been justified in slapping Leslie. Worried that Leslie could do even more damage now that she had wealth, Vernon concocted a plan and asked Anita if he should make the call. Anita nodded, then looked at Barbara via the tribute video on her own phone. Kat's face fell when Nicole announced that she was divorcing Ted. Nicole elaborated that it had been a long time coming and gave her daughter permission to feel whatever came naturally. Hurting, Kat reminisced that when she and Martin were younger, all the kids wanted to hang out at their house because they had the cool parents. Dr. and Mrs. Richardson had been an entity, and their love had shone over everyone. Kat hated that it had been a lie. Nicole faulted herself for presenting a fairy tale to her children, and assured Kat that the love she had shared with Ted had indeed been real, until it wasn't. Nicole didn't want to run Ted down for Kat's benefit, but Kat was all right with running down the Leslie and her little evil spawn. Kat didn't want to hear that Nicole was moving toward forgiving Eva, or Nicole's contention that Leslie had ruined Eva like she had ruined her marriage. But Nicole did admit that her dreams were filled with scenes of Leslie getting what was coming to her. Later, Kat and Anita commented on how sad Nicole seemed, but while Anita urged Kat to share her own sad feelings with her whenever they should come up, she also coaxed Kat to concentrate on the Chelseakat purse launch later that evening, and to be proud of what she had helped create. Anita peeked in on the solemn Nicole and sympathized that it was hard to give one's children bad news. Nicole sensed there was yet another calamity, but before Anita could expound, Bill arrived at the door. Vernon let Bill in, and Nicole exclaimed, "Of course you're invited to whatever fresh hell this is." Bill scoffed that once again, the Duprees had prevailed upon him to clean up one of their messes. Nicole freaked when she learned that Leslie was due Barbara's money, and Anita asked Bill if the trust could be reversed. Bill laid out that the trust was ironclad and that it wasn't possible to separate Leslie from the cash. Nicole railed about there being no options, but Bill advised his former in-laws to be prepared and protect themselves in advance from whatever Leslie might do to them with her newfound power. When Bill offered to be the lookout, he said the only payment he wanted was the respect he'd never had, and if the Duprees weren't willing to offer that, he was out. Vernon refused to bow down to Bill, who confessed that he had always longed for Vernon's respect, especially since his own father wasn't capable of showing him any. Bill quipped that it seemed only those with Dupree blood counted, which was why Ted had stepped out on Nicole. "There's some things even you can't fix," Bill retorted to one-time fixer Nicole when she said the family didn't need him. Bill groused about how he had always made himself available to the Duprees and how he'd long been in awe of them, but now they were all together in the dirt. If the dynasty, including Danny, couldn't look Bill in the eye when he walked into a room, they could deal with crazy Leslie themselves. Anita gave a nod, so Vernon shook Bill's hand. Once the attorney departed, Nicole vented her frustration about Bill having no moves to negate Leslie's inheritance. Anita replied that there really was nothing that could be done, because the trust was irreversible. Nicole was gleeful upon learning that Anita had slapped Leslie, but she quickly returned to her umbrage over Leslie being rewarded for ruining her marriage and trying to kill Laura twice. Nicole didn't fully comprehend Anita's lingering sense of guilt over Barbara, until Anita told Nicole how the Articulatsi founding member had killed herself as a result of being jettisoned from her own group, and Anita's part in it. Anita maintained that the trust she had established had been intended to do right by Barbara, even after her death, and Leslie's receiving the funds didn't alter that intention. Nicole's argument was that Anita owed nothing to Leslie. Anita pondered if Leslie would have turned out the way she had if she hadn't devastated Barbara, but Nicole wasn't buying that Leslie was dark because of some girl group drama that happened way before she was even born. Anita shared her daughter's disgust over Leslie coming into Barbara's money, but there was no method for cutting Leslie off from it, and now, every time Anita looked at Leslie, she would be thinking of how badly she had treated Barbara. That said, outside of the money, Anita heaved a sigh of relief that Leslie couldn't further infringe on the family. Ted found Andre at the country club and observed that he looked more miserable than he had during their pity party. Andre explained how Ashley had rejected him after witnessing the one moment he had kissed Danny, which Danny walked in and overheard. Danny made a snarky comment about Andre seeking romance advice from Ted of all people. She didn't want Andre to end up with a secret love child like Ted had. "Uncle can't keep it in his pants, is your love guru?" Danny asked Andre once Ted took his leave of Danny's sarcasm. Danny wanted to take Andre to her house and promised that even she knew how to handle a problem without sex. She was offended that Andre could open up to Ted, but not her. Once at Danny's, they discussed how Andre was going to be photographing the Chelseakat event. Andre was surprised when Danny gave him club soda. When she remarked that he had already had 2 shots at the club, he knowingly replied, "Now you're counting my drinks?" Danny didn't want him to turn into her and encouraged him to talk about his disappointment with Ashley. Danny listened as Andre finally divulged that Ashley didn't want to be with him because she had seen him and Danny kissing and thought it was a prelude to lovemaking. Andre felt like he would be the biggest ass in the world if he texted Ashley, given everything that had happened to Derek. Danny had heard about the accident from Naomi and knew how much she and Jacob adored the firefighter. Andre went over how Ashley had believed he hadn't moved beyond the kiss with Danny, but seeing it had cemented Jan's fears over Andre being a player. He couldn't believe that Ashley had jumped back into things with Derek. Andre tired of devoting time to what might have been. Danny understood that the heart wants what it wants, even if what it wants is a vanilla milkshake. She hoped she hadn't cost Andre his chance with Ashley and said he was allowed to mourn the fact that Ashley had woken his heart up. Andre didn't want to burden Danny, but she wanted to be there for him, as he had been while she went through all her ups and downs about Bill. Danny hugged Andre, but he wanted to revert to having sex to make themselves feel better. Andre was amazed when Danny pulled back. Danny said they couldn't just return to being friends with benefits because Andre felt like it, especially after Andre claimed he had evolved. Danny wanted to remain friends with Andre, but notified him that he'd have to put in the work if he wanted the benefits back. She desired the kind of romance Andre had lavished on Ashley. Andre worried that romance might imply more than their relationship actually was, but Danny was willing to chance it. After Andre consented to the idea, he tried to kiss Danny again, which he ultimately chalked up to force of habit. Ted was annoyed when Leslie showed up at his room, clucking about how small it was. She thought that perhaps Ted was attempting penance by slumming it. Ted griped that he was forced to live at the hotel because Leslie had destroyed his marriage. "From insult to come on in seconds," Ted sniffed when Leslie figured the silver-spooned Ted had originally come to her because he'd craved something from the streets. Leslie resented Ted always reminding her of their class difference, then purred that she was now as rich as he was, if not richer. Learning that Anita had been thrust into the role of Leslie's benefactress, Ted intuited that Leslie wanted his insight on how to deal with the matriarch. Leslie did, in fact, want lessons. Though Ted acknowledged that Leslie had smarts, he imparted that only bloodlines counted at Fairmont Crest. Ted added that wealth was about nuance, and that you couldn't buy subtlety with all the money in the world. Leslie attempted to pay Ted his $50,000 back, but he wouldn't take it. She began crumpling up the bills and tossing them at her former lover. Kat found Eva at the diner and raged that it was her and Leslie's fault that her parents were getting divorced. Eva seemed to stun Kat by saying that she was devastated by the news, since she genuinely cared for Nicole, and she and Ted had been developing their father-daughter relationship. Kat held back tears, then became indignant as Eva said that Ted and Nicole had looked to be the perfect couple. Seeing an opening, Eva jeered that a couple either had basic compatibility or they didn't. Kat appeared to understand Eva was talking about Tomas as Eva left the table. Eva visited Ted and saw the Benjamin confetti on his floor. Ted relayed that he had apparently hurt Leslie's feelings and commented that Eva was nothing like her mother when Eva expressed condolences about Nicole filing for divorce. Learning that Leslie had made a show of announcing her multiple zeros windfall, Eva hoped maybe Leslie's appearance had been an attempt at closure. Ted disclosed that if he had been worried when Dana first came back to town, he was even more worried now. Vanessa went into business mode when she brought Leslie into the county club, assuming Ms. Thomas wanted to invest in a starter home. The realtor offered to connect Leslie with an associate who handled those, but Leslie wanted to effect a transaction that was the opposite of small. Leslie declared that she wanted to live behind the gates. Anita is still beating herself up, proverbially speaking, over having literally slapped Leslie. Have we strayed so far off the path that we now condone violence? She asks Vernon, who reveals he's got a plan for dealing with the interloper. Soon after, Bill arrives, having been summoned, as usual, to deal the Dupree's dirty laundry. Bill warns that there's nothing they can do to get the money back, and Leslie will likely use all her newfound wealth to come at the Dupree family. She can hire a honey trap, a hitman, anything her little mind can dream up and outsource, he predicts. He offers to keep an eye open for them. What will it cost? Their respect, not only for himself but Haley too. Reluctantly, Vernon agrees to his terms. Later, Anita shares with Nicole the truth about Barbara's death and why she set up the fund which Leslie has now inherited. Eva hopes her mom won't spend all their money at once. How much money are we talking? A lawyer arrives to give Leslie her first payment in the form of a check for $1 million. Fresh from the bank, Leslie stops by to flirt with / taunt Ted. She suggests that in the past, his MO was to slum it. But things have changed now. I'm just as rich as you are, Doc, she hisses. Probably richer. How do you like me now? Ted warns that money or not, Leslie will never be one of the upper crust. The toughest part for you? What you say and don't say. Wealth is nuance, and you couldn't buy subtle with all the money in the world. Whipping out an envelope, she offers him back the $10,000 she blackmailed him out of months earlier. When Ted won't take it, she crumbles up $100 bills and throws them at his feet. Afterwards, she pays Vanessa a visit to buy a new home, and guess what neighborhood she's looking to move into? I want to live behind the gates, she declares to the realtor. Danny finds Andre talking to Ted and, after trash-talking Nicole's ex, suggests that Uncle can't keep it in his pants isn't the best person to seek advice from. Instead, she drags Andre back to her place to try and help him work through his emotions where being dumped by Ashley is concerned. The heart wants what it wants, she insists, even if what it wants is a vanilla milkshake. And before you know it, they're cranking up the heat. This is what we do, he says. They make each other feel better. This time, however, it's her who pumps the brakes. We will always be friends, she says, but if you want those benefits back, you're gonna have to put in some work. He goes in for a kiss, but she literally keeps him at arm's length, for now. Nicole tells Kat about the divorce papers being filed. Later, Kat and Eva clash at Orphe Jean's. Eva admits she's sad about Ted and Nicole's divorce because they were romance goals. Eva later visits her dad and isn't particularly surprised to find out her mother was there flaunting her money. Beyond the Gates is teaming up with F&W Style to bring Chelseakat purses to life. And get ready, because this fall, you'll be able to get your very own Chelseakat bag. The brand, focused on helping women elevate their look with luxury handbags, is creating pieces that won't just be seen on screen. They'll be available to buy in real life, too. That's right. The fashion isn't just beyond the gates anymore. It's stepping into your world this fall. According to Paige, Chelsea Hamilton and Kat Richardson, played by Ronnie Rose Mantilla and Colby Muhammad, have been inseparable since childhood. Their moms were best friends, so naturally, they grew up more like sisters than friends. Chelsea was Kat's first ever customer at her first ever business, a lemonade stand. Kat, in return, never missed one of Chelsea's fashion shows. She was always there, holding Chelsea's purse while she strutted down their homemade runways. After countless prototypes, press events, and a few bumps along the way, Chelseakat was born. And now, what started as a childhood bond has turned into a fashion line made to bring a little something extra to your favorite fit. As for F&W Style, it was founded by Alexandria Ali, who discovered her love for fashion at just 10 years old. After earning her MBA in 2008, she combined her business skills with years of experience in the fashion industry to launch a luxury brand made for busy women who want to stay stylish on the go. It's a matter of when, not if. Family is forever on Beyond the Gates, even if you can't stand each other. There is certainly an ocean's worth of love lost between Bill and Vernon, but the ex-father-in-law, son-in-law duo have once again been thrown together in a storyline. This time, it's to combat the perceived evil of having to pay Leslie her inheritance. On the show's Thursday, August 21st episode, Vernon invited Bill over to the family estate to handle business. Bill told him that they wouldn't be able to stop Leslie from receiving the money she's owed. But he offered what will likely turn out to be a devil's bargain: intel for respect. Vernon agreed to the steep price, but it could come to bite him in the future. It's no secret on BTG how Bill operates. He specializes in underhanded deals that he can later use as leverage. Suspicious activity that leads to the problem being eliminated is straight out of his playbook. He has no shame about doing what he has to do to get what he wants. And if the Duprees come calling, he'll gripe and sneer, but he'll do what they ask. Bill has come to their rescue more than once since BTG started in February, but his agreement to watch Leslie's movements is a different kind of deal. His payment comes in the form of Vernon and the family respecting him and his wife, Haley. This means no more freezing them out of polite society. Bill and Haley will be acknowledged with direct eye contact and a proper greeting. In Vernon's case, a handshake. It may seem like a small ask, but it'll require the Duprees to swallow their pride. As Bill mentioned, they're down in the muck with him now. There's no room for them to be high and mighty in this situation. Bill agreed to diligently track any move Leslie makes that could directly impact the Duprees. The concern is that her access to wealth means she now has power that she can wield in an attack against the family. But she's new money, and therefore will make mistakes as she adjusts to having so much cash at her disposal. That's where Bill will likely see her trip up. The problem is, Vernon solely told him that they're not looking for any solutions that involve Leslie losing her life. With such a simple parameter to follow, there's a lot Bill could do that Vernon wouldn't approve of. Tactics that Leslie has even used herself: staging accidents, assuming an identity, manipulating events to his favor for a nefarious outcome, etc. Surveillance is likely only a part of what Bill has planned to honor their deal. If Anita thinks she feels guilty now over Barbara's death, imagine the weight she'll carry if something happens to Leslie. After all, she despises the woman, but Leslie is still Barbara's daughter. Giving her blessing for Vernon to make this agreement could backfire in a way that the Duprees can't come back from. Here are your spoilers for Beyond the Gates on Friday, Saturday, August 22nd, 25. Danny and Naomi receive terrible news, and an assailant comes out of the shadows to attack their target. Once Anita has time to recover from her meeting with Leslie, it'll be time to drop the bad news to the rest of the family. And what bad news it is, too. Leslie is about to be rich beyond her dreams thanks to her mother, Barbara, and Anita, who established the trust. In Friday's episode, Danny and Naomi receive terrible news from Anita and Vernon. The one who's going to react the worst to this news is Nicole. Ted is still reeling from being served divorce papers and the reaction he got from Anita, Vernon, and Nicole when he went to talk to her. Despite still wanting to fix his marriage, he has to make moves to protect himself as well, as Nicole could be petty going forward. In Friday's episode, Ted seeks out Bill's legal expertise. He can't go to Naomi, as she is a Dupree, and he's on the naughty list there. Bill has been there for Ted before, and hopefully, he can be again. The two cousins, Chelsea and Kat, formed their company Chelseakat to go after the purse and handbag market with their new and creative designs. Things are looking good for the duo, with success coming in waves. In Friday's episode, Kat and Chelsea have a heart-to-heart before their big launch party. But there is something, or someone, sinister hiding in the shadows, watching and waiting. Not a stranger, but someone they know. Someone with a darker purpose. In Friday's episode, an assailant comes out of the shadows to attack their target. Look out, Chelsea, and check behind doors and under beds. What do they want? It will soon become obvious, but stay tuned, soap fans. as we head to another Friday of suspense and soapiness on Beyond the Gates. This week has been dividing fans into Team Leslie and Team Anita. Who are you siding with? The Beyond the Gates spoilers for August 18th, 22 are here. The upcoming week features some heartbreaking and terrible news. You do not want to miss a moment. Check out the full spoilers below. Leslie learns her luck may have just changed. Doug doles out advice for Ted and some critical information to Jacob, and Ashley calls on Shanice to help Derek. Naomi relays some heartbreaking news. Martin and Smitty deal with an intruder, and Anita is forced to relive painful memories from her past before grappling with information that will affect her future. Ava has a stunning revelation to share with Tomas. Anita and Leslie go head-to-head, and Andre rushes to the hospital after hearing about Derek and is surprised by Ashley's reaction to seeing him. Nicole has a major relationship update to tell Kat. Vanessa meets with a new client who has lofty demands. Vernon calls Bill for help, but Bill has some demands that need to be met first, and Danny dishes out some conditions of her own to Andre. Danny and Naomi receive terrible news from Anita and Vernon. Ted seeks out Bill's legal expertise. Kat and Chelsea have a heart-to-heart before their big launch party, and an assailant comes out of the shadows to attack their target. As the Beyond the Gates spoilers for the week of August 18th, 22 reveal more drama, you can't afford to miss it. Beyond the Gates airs weekdays on CBS. Tune in. Next on BTG, Nicole shares her relationship status with Kat. Vanessa meets up with a high-maintenance client. Vernon wants Bill's help, while Bill is distracted with another matter. Danny sets guidelines with Andre. The Beyond the Gates spoilers for Thursday, August 21st, 25 give viewers a glimpse into what's next for Nicole. She will reveal her relationship status with Kat. She's not the only one who's making moves in her personal life. Nicole will share a major relationship update with Kat. This news could take her in a new direction in her life. Will she finally confirm that she's divorcing Ted? How will Kat react to this news? Who will she side with? Vernon wants Bill's help, but Bill has his own conditions that need to be met before he can offer any guidance. It sounds like he's setting some ground rules. How will Vernon react? Will he be willing to accept Bill's new conditions? Bill isn't the only one who's laying down the law. Danny is setting some conditions of her own. She will lay down terms for Andre, who is still caught in the middle of this love triangle. This could cause further tension between them as they navigate their shifting expectations. Will Andre willingly go along with Danny's terms? Or will he move on? Vanessa has a new client, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good thing. This new client will have lofty demands that will put her patience to the test. Will Vanessa ride it out? Or will she ditch this client even if they have big money to throw around? Leslie's already referring to Anita as Sugar Mama. Now that Dana Leslie Thomas knows she's the biological heir to Barbara Mitchell's fortune, she won't settle for what's currently in the trust fund she inherited. After the Thursday, August 21st episode of Beyond the Gates, it's clear she's going to try and bilk the Duprees for all the money she can get. But there are reasons she needs to step back and be happy with the windfall she just received. Despite Eva begging her mom to be happy with their newfound fortune, Leslie will not do that. How do we know? Because Leslie is already calling Anita Sugar Mama. She's already enlisting Vanessa's services to find her a place behind the gates, and she's already throwing money away. Although, to be honest, we're glad she paid Ted back for whatever ego reasons she did that. Dana Leslie won't concern herself with investing money and seeing her fortune build. She won't put any away in an IRA for her retirement, not when she can periodically extort money from the Duprees. While Leslie should listen to the tips Ted gave her, she won't. She will attempt to bend people to her will. Leslie will no longer have to sneak beyond the Fairmont Crest gates or crash country club parties. Will she be in for a rude awakening? Anita already slapped her so hard, she practically landed back on the other side of the gates. Bill and Haley still don't have the respect of the Fairmont Crest residents, although he recently struck a deal with Vernon to ensure he and his wife would. First of all, Anita has set Leslie up. She has been putting money into that trust for a long time. On top of that, she is already talking about mixing Barbara's vocals into classic Articulettes tracks. Anita has gone above and beyond for a woman she may have treated badly, but isn't really to blame for taking her own life. Second, Peaches told Leslie about her beginnings. Barbara didn't want to be her mother. Long before she died by suicide, she gave Leslie up. She let Peaches raise her because she didn't have the parental gene. Who's to say that if Barbara didn't take her life, she wouldn't have had roughly the same challenging upbringing? Leslie is becoming rich beyond belief because Anita felt immense guilt. Barbara put a lot of the blame on her in that last letter she wrote to Anita. It didn't help that Tracy and Sharon blamed her too. Even today, Anita still can't shake the guilt she's feeling. But ultimately, the trust fund is irreversible, meaning there are no take-backsies. Let Leslie have her money. The Duprees need to ensure that she can't take any more of their money. Is there any way Bill can prevent that from happening? Music royalties are one thing, but she doesn't need to take another dime straight out of Anita's bank accounts. What do you think of Leslie and Anita? How about Andre and Danny? Do you think they should reignite their friends with benefits status? Let us know in the comments. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you!